that
You want to
circle
tell
is
them it's a
5 inch
36 inch
5 foot
diameter, and then it will be ordered as a 36 inch
So
diameter.
they would
bed.
know, but it sort of has enough flexibility to move slightly.
6 inches is the rule in or out,
Mhm.
without overstressing the material and causing it to
Yeah.
crack.
I didn't know that either.
But it's also about a third the price of doing the same thing in wood. So that's where the benefit is to using flex. And also it's very nice when you have curved panel jams, you have a deep jam and you want to panelize it. Here they're using the flex as a style and rail, and they're also using a flexible panel molding to create that recessed panel going around that barreled pass-through. On the wood side, wood's going to be significantly more expensive, and the reason why is that we're going to be using some modern equipment to make our radius wood. What we're showing in the back is a CNC router. Here we've taken several straight pieces of wood, we've pieced them all together, and we're using the router to cut out the radius. The next step is it has to go through a molder, and if you look at this side you can see the profile coming out. This side it's the smooth square piece coming in, so we have a lot of machining. It also has to be measured perfect. If it's off a 1/4 of an inch, the reveal is going to be off a 1/4 of an inch. There's no margin for error whenever we're working with rigid wood radius work. The nice thing that we can do with rigid wood radius work is we can pre-assemble stuff, because since it's rigid, it's going to stay the way that we make it. Here we can assemble a cased opening. So you have a builder that wants a cased opening between 2 rooms, a dining room and a hallway, let's say. In the field, they're not always the best at cutting the openings or even assembling this type of millwork, even though it's not rocket science. We can pre-assemble everything, and then you have a radius arch that you lift into the opening and 2 legs that you slide on. All of the tricky cuts are already pre-done in the shop. So it makes the installation very, very easy. Almost anybody in the field can do the installation. You can design something a little more elaborate with keystones, and in this case we have a little neck molding on the sides as well as plinth blocks, all applied, but anybody can put it in. If it's going to be stained, you're going to want to do it in rigid wood. Flex is stainable, but it requires someone with a lot of experience. You actually use a gel stain, you brush it on, you let it dry, you take a little bit off with a dry brush. It's not, wipe it on, wipe it off and go like you can do with wood. So anytime you want something that's going to be stained, you definitely want to specify that it's going to be in real wood or rigid wood. Here's an example. You have a whole bunch of arches. They all have to be the same. If they're all pre-assembled and kind of snapped together, everyone's going to be very, very precise. You also have some crown molding details and keystones. This person happens to sell catastrophic health insurance. If you've never heard what that is a rider policy that your insurance salesman will try to sell you that says if you're 100% disabled but not killed, they will give you $1 million. He says he's never paid anybody a claim because you're never 100% disabled and not killed, or vice versa. So he's definitely making some extra money. Designing with doors. This is a little extra thing that I threw in here at the end. This has become very popular over the last few years, and as it says here, I'm never just a door. A door is something that people touch and feel every single day and that you have to pass through. Most builders today are putting the same doors in every opening in the house. There are quite a few styles to choose from in the molded panel doors, the inexpensive style doors, but it's about 6 different styles. The company TrueStyle has over 300 different styles and a lot of different options that make it very, very popular, especially just for one special opening or a couple of openings in a house. Here's the difference between your standard 6-panel door on a water closet in a bathroom. We've changed it to this 4-panel door and put white lamy glass in it. So it lets the light in. That water closet had no windows or no outside light coming in. Now you get some natural light through the glass, but total privacy. And it really changes the look. They've also gone from your Plymouth knob to kind of a cool looking contemporary lever. It's really changed the look of that room.
Excuse me, now is this a completely custom door, or do these actually, are they available also sort of in, what do I want to say, ready-made,
Well,
because the builder is not going to pay $4,000 for that door to get it custom.
The TrueStyle door, and I have brochures that I'll hand out to anybody that's interested, is a manufacturer that every door is made to order. but like I said, they have hundreds of standard styles. You can choose from multiple styles of stickings and panels and glass inserts, and it's all explained very well in here. And they made out of MDF. They come factory primed. We pre-hang them and put them in the frame so they come out to a job site just like a regular door. That door there is maybe a $500 door.
Oh, okay, that's.
So it's, I mean, a $4,000 true style door might have, well, actually, you know what it's going to have? It's going to have one more. That glass. That glass is a $3,000 add. That's where that's where it can get crazy. But the door itself is very, very reasonable, and they're available in all sorts of materials. But having that, you know, if you can imagine that one unique opening going to a particular room in a house, especially in a model home or something, it really changes the whole look.
Now, does this particular company also, can you specify glass from them?
They have 40 different glass
40 different, okay.
selections to choose from. Here's the same idea where we have, you know, your standard 6-panel door, and you're probably not even specifying the doors when you're doing the design work. It's just whatever they already have that they're buying for the house. It might be a 6-panel, it might be a 2-panel, but here's where you can do something a little different. The pantry and the kitchen, it'd be nice if the door matched the finish of the cabinets, and here they've done a seedy Baroque glass. You know, it still gives you some privacy, but it does have the 2 panels on the bottom that line up with the 2 panels of the rest of the house, but it really matches the kitchen more than it's going to match the other doors in the house. Some more ideas. You know, you take a 2-panel door and take the panels away and put glass in it instead of your traditional 15-light French door. Changes the look. Here, all the doors in the house are a 5-panel style door, but certain key doors have the white lamy or frosted glass substitute. Here is a common arch pair. It's probably difficult to see on the slide. It's a 2-panel style, but the top of the door panel is arched and the lock rail is also arched. So instead of 2 doors that each have their own independent arch side by side, now you can order a door where the arch is continuous throughout the entire design of the door. And it matches the other less expensive 2-panel doors that might just have the arch on top in the rest of the house. And here's a stained grade door, again curved lock rail for a wine cellar. So you might have an add-on or a upgrade to a house in the basement that has a wine cellar. Maybe you specify something special for the wine cellar. Last but not least, we're going to get into some materials. Look at that, I'm flying right along. Please, if you have any questions, you know, that really goes a long way. So, I made a list of some of the more popular species of wood for woodworking on the left-hand side. Red oak being probably one of the most common. Normally, it's the material you see on the floor. Most of the houses are going to have a red or a white oak floor. You can do some woodwork out of it, but currently it's not the trend.
Why?
I think most people are going to a lot of paint grade materials, a lot of glazed finishes, and you might have heard of Brazilian cherry or mahogany. That's probably the most popular material right now for flooring. White oak, but in a quarter sawn cut. You see all the little flitching and everything in the wood? The quarter sawn cut is the way that the log is cut, and it doesn't yield as much material, but it yields a lot more character in the look. Generally, you're going to see quarter sawn white oak in a country farmhouse style. You can see the type of furniture there that's made out of quarter sawn white oak. You're not going to see it in a really contemporary house unless it's what we call plain sliced white oak, where it's a long straight ribbon and maybe with a real dark finish on it.
Can I ask you to do something? A lot of times what we're dealing with is we have, you know, full access to a lot of the more interesting flooring that is out there, and the builders are doing a lot of different things, gray stains, whites, darks, whatever. But what we're often doing is we'll have the wood floor, but then we're also doing a lot of wood on the walls. We're specifying different 1x6s or whatever, and then also to be stained to match the floor, painted, or we might do a contrast, we might do multiple stains. Can you talk a little bit about would you want to go to the expense of putting a red wood on the wall just to match your floor?
Sure, red oak is one of the least expensive materials out there. So when you're looking at the cost of materials, red oak's probably going to be the least expensive of the stained grade materials. It's also the most readily available in our market, making it very, very inexpensive. Sometimes the finish that's on the wood is going to be the expensive part. You get a cerused finish, and that's very popular right now, a cerused oak finish. You've got white oak, you've got a stain on it, and you've got a paint finish that goes over top that's then removed, leaving little white flitches in the grain and everything. The finish can be what makes or breaks it. Now, one way to do it economically is when you do your work on the walls, use the same material as the floor, because most of the pre-finished flooring material is imported material. It's very reasonably priced, and if you can incorporate that into your design, maybe the stile and rail material is a paint grade material, then just the inserts are the flooring material. You've brought that floor color up onto the walls, created that look you're looking for, but the frame around it doesn't have to be custom made to match, and you don't have to pay for that custom finishing. Knotty alder has been in and out of vogue for a while. It actually can be pretty expensive. Clear alder is less expensive than the knotty alder because people have overbought the knotty material looking for a real rustic look. But if you're looking for rustic, knotty alder is the way to go. Cherry, see a lot of cherry cabinets. Sometimes it's an accent cabinet with painted or glazed cabinets around it. It'll be an accent island or vice versa. Cherry is an expensive wood when it comes to custom millwork, but because so much of the pre-manufactured cabinetry is made out of cherry, it can be reasonably priced for that. And that's the quick and easy show. I do have lots of samples of different moldings up here, and I wanted to kind of dive into some of the things that we can do with some stock profiles that we have that you'll find in our catalog. I was showing these profiles earlier. This is a one-piece 7-inch crown, and we have a one-piece 5 1/4-inch crown. What we've done in moldings lately is we've added accenting profiles. So if you look at the shape on the bottom of this crown molding, which is just this small 2-inch little section of it, it's kind of a French curve. This casing has the exact same shape. Now the same thing that we've done in the crown moldings is because not every room is the same size, we've scaled the sizes of the casings. See a 3.5, this is the same size as your standard Adams casing that you might find as an upgrade in a lot of production builders' houses. They're going to have this molding right here. But the style, even though these are both the same size, really is completely different looking. They're both the same width, 3.5-inch casing, but with a very different style for a different type of home. This might be a colonial style home. This might be the more popular European or country French style. Not every room has got 8-foot ceilings. So when you get to bigger rooms, we have the exact same profiles, but in larger sizes. So we have a 4 and even a 4.5-inch version of the same molding. As the moldings get wider, they also get thicker. We've done the same thing with baseboards. So you have your 7-inch one-piece crown. Everybody uses a 5 1/4-inch baseboard, but now the two shapes don't match. They can probably go together in the same room, and people have specified them for years, but this shape on top is different than this shape on the bottom. Consider something that has the exact same shape, and then the two profiles reflect each other, really changing the look of the room. If it's a really big room, instead of using multiple pieces of molding for your baseboard, here's a one-piece baseboard that's 7 1/4 inches, and you got a 7-inch crown. Got a room with a 10-foot